Hi, Sarah Mack here. Welcome back to Creative Magic Club. Today, I have a very special story for you, and I wanted to share a few nuggets around my story of my very first six-figure year as an entrepreneur. And I was reflecting on some of the pieces that I know contributed to me hitting my goal. And this will be valuable for you, whether you want to reach your first six-figure year, your first five-figure months, or any goal actually that you're going towards. I'm going to break down what I know to be true that really contributed to making it possible for me to hit my goal, and that I have continued to use to hit my next level goals since then as well. So my first six-figure year was back in 2018, and it was a year that was all over the place for me. And I'll give you a bit of backstory into what was really going on in my life during that time. So that first 12-month period that I crossed the six-figure mark, if I go back to where I was at the beginning of that time, I actually ended up getting kicked out of Canada, funnily enough, because I left on vacation. And while I was away, I discovered that my previous visa had expired during that time, and I'd applied for a new one, and that application got rejected. So I ended up not going back to my apartment and ended up staying with my partner in the US and then traveling and basically being a homeless nomad until I figured out, until my residency application had gone through for Canada. So it was pretty tumultuous and a disruptive time. I didn't have a set home base, and I was going through a lot of major transitions in my life. And we then moved into another era where my partner was traveling a lot for different internships all over the country. And so we were away from each other for long periods of time. So my support systems were very disrupted. It was a very challenging time for me. And I was really living and traveling all over the place during that time. So it just goes to show things do not have to be going perfectly for us to continue to be able to and capable of hitting our goals. So I really want you to take that message away. I was also doing a lot of really deep emotional healing work around sexual assault that I hadn't yet resurfaced the memories of, but was experiencing very intense health challenges as a result. And I'd started to have inklings around what was going on and was processing a lot of really heavy emotions during that moment in my healing process. And I was living in Montreal for a time, then I was living in upstate New York for a time. I was also traveling during that time. And strategically in my business, I was making a lot of shifts. I was going through a lot of transitions. I was transitioning out of doing done-for-you copywriting work for clients, and I was launching coaching offers. I launched a membership, I launched group coaching programs, I launched private mentorship, and I was also doing live workshops for free and paid. I ran a one-day retreat at some point with a couple of other friends that I collaborated with. I was doing free women's circles inside my apartment at one point when I was back in Montreal for a few months. And the point I want to make here is that I was really following my inspiration and I was following my intuition and I was doing what felt exciting to me. And I also think it's important to note that I wasn't crazy busy working. I was very full in my workload, particularly because copywriting, this was in the initial stages before I transitioned and I started making five-figure months during that year purely through my coaching offers. But the thing that I know got me to experience a result that I'd never experienced before was commitment to following my inspiration and following my excitement and saying yes to my ideas and not worrying too much about trying to be super strategic with everything. However, obviously strategy was very important, and there were very specific and clear tweaks that I made that allowed me to start hitting those 5-figure months considerably more easily than I was doing done for you copywriting contracts for clients. So I want to share a few of the key pieces that I know have really supported me during that time to make that leap. And one of them was journaling every day on my goal and how I knew it would feel to be hitting that. And this is obviously in part because I know that the magic of manifestation happens when we tune into the feelings of already having what it is that we desire. But I also know that through that act of devotion and committing to what it was that I desired to create, that influenced the choices that I was making in my day. And through choosing to commit to that over and over again, that then led to inspired ideas that allowed me to create that result. And, that's where all of my ideas came from, was focusing my brain in the direction of the result I desired to create and how I wanted to feel as I was creating it. And that's really what unfolded for me. And I had so much fun launching my coaching offers. I never put too much thought into everything. And I really just came up with an idea. Obviously, I had guidance at the time from a coach who supported me to get clear on the basic strategic points of how to launch an offer, get it out there, enroll people into it and deliver it. And obviously, I had my copywriting skills, which I really knew was all I needed to be attracting clients into whatever offer I put out there, because I'd been doing that for thousands of different entrepreneurs as a copywriter before them. So that was one thing, strategically focusing on my goal every day in my journal and choosing to keep my commitment and my focus on my goal. The next few pieces that I want to share with you, I know are really pivotal for me to be able to have the capacity to follow through on my inspiration, not from a place of push and burnout and hustle. And that was really supporting myself by meeting my needs as a human from a holistic perspective. And one of the biggest, most game-changing investments, commitments that I made during that time was enrolling in for yoga, a yoga studio. And that was something that I'd always historically had a lot of resistance around spending money on, because I always thought they were pretty pricey, the yoga memberships, and even paying for yoga classes when, that was something that I could just practice at home. And, since then I moved around so much that I stopped subscribing to a yoga studio membership, and now I actually practice at home again. So I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but it was in making that investment in myself. And it was super close to where I was living, and I would go very regularly. I think I started taking like 3 or 4 classes a week, and just that up level and that commitment to my well-being really, really supported me and elevated my energy levels. It elevated my focus. It elevated my productivity. And that's when I really saw how, when I invest in supporting myself physically and emotionally, that translates into financial results. And I made that direct correlation around that specific time, around that specific investment. And so that has then led to me really embodying that prioritization of my workout. Every single day I exercise and I move in some capacity for at least 30 minutes. And I really do see that the more I commit to that and supporting my body and giving it the practices that really make me feel good, my productivity, my energy, my results expands and it grows. I also invested in working in a co-working space, which really helped me to create boundaries around my work and around my personal life, which again increased my productivity. I don't have that now, and I haven't had that since then, but I in that moment, in giving that to myself, it helped me to really understand the importance of boundaries between taking care of myself, my personal life, my social life, and my work, and really showing up for and being intentional around the time and the energy and the focus that I was giving to my work. And that's something that I've carried with me ever since then. So, and that's something that I didn't even really realize was going on when I was just working from my laptop and traveling and, working from my bedroom or whatever room I was living in or renting. I never really created that set physical boundary between my life space and my workspace. And that was obviously being reflected in my productivity and in my focus. So that was a really great lesson for me, just to reflect on how putting those key pieces in place really allowed me to elevate my work and my focus and to elevate my results accordingly. And, these things also, most importantly, really allowed me to be showing up consistently, not from a place of hustle and push. And, there for sure were days where I was tired and I didn't feel like going into my co-working space and writing for hours on a piece of copy for one of my clients, because I was in so much resistance around that and really desiring to move away from that, which is why I launched my coaching business in the first place. So for sure, there were times where, I put in a late night or I worked, a few extra hours to get the job done. But I knew in keeping that focus, in keeping that commitment, and in keeping showing up and really getting into momentum with launching my coaching offers and services, that would be the thing that would allow me to retire the done for you freelancing contracts that I was finding were really draining my energy. So, it was definitely, there were moments of strain during that transition, but it worked. It worked, right? I kept focused on the goal. I kept following through on the goal, and it worked. And later on that year, I got to start saying no to requests for copywriting clients because I had established an income and was much more easily making 5-figure months through my coaching offers alone. And that was another, key strategic piece that shifted for me once I started focusing on my income goal that I desired, which was 10K months. That inspired the shift in my packaging, as it had done. I'd been repeating this process many times at this point. Initially, it was in shifting the way I was offering copywriting services and packaging that and targeting ideal clients around that and offering value and services in different ways that had allowed me to expand my income and reduce my working hours in the past. This time, I was just making the transition from done for you services, freelance services, to coaching and mentoring services. And that's really what inspired launching a high-level one-on-one private mentorship container, which I was selling at the time for $3,500 US for 3 months of working with me for weekly calls. And I created workbooks and journaling prompts for that as well. And then sold that to various different one-on-one clients, as well as running group programs where I would, do a live stream once a week. And the same in my membership, which I then eventually retired. So, the strategic shift in my price point, in my offerings, in the level of value and service, came out of that continued focus on my goal and seeing that if I wanted to make more money in more spacious and time abundant ways, and in ways that were centered around a skill set that really energized me instead of draining me, that's where I began to put my focus and attention. That's where the ideas started coming. That's where I started taking action and following through on launching those things and selling those things. And guess what? It worked. So there we have it. And the most important piece here is the momentum, because there was no set strategy that was working for me. I was doing free events in person. I was doing free workshops online in my Facebook group. I was doing low cost group programs. I was doing high cost private mentorship programs. And the key was the momentum, because by continuing to follow through my inspiration, continuing to take one step after the next, Clients would come into my world either via a free workshop or a paid workshop, would end up in my programs, would end up in my private mentorship. And, obviously the work that I was doing with whichever people were in my world, in whichever offering or situation or location, that would continue to re-inspire me in what to create next, to continue to support them. And it felt like a very natural, very inspired evolution that was really coming from a place of passion for the work and not from a place of how can I strategically set up these perfect offers that are going to lead one into the other. I really wasn't thinking about that. I was really leading from inspiration, leading from my passion for the work, and leading from, obviously one thing that I did nail from the beginning was really attracting dream clients, because I was building on the foundation of having that copywriting skill and knowing how to share my story strategically in a way that was really speaking to the people who, in my heart, I really desired to be supporting. So that was one thing that I was good at off the bat. So the people that I were attracting were really inspiring me to continue to create for them, and continue to have inspiration of, around ways to continue supporting them through the offers and the services that I was putting out in my business. And it was that momentum month after month. And, and I've been somebody who has struggled with momentum because of my health issues in the past and experiencing chronic fatigue, periods of severe depression, really, low productivity, and experiencing, having highs, having energy, work, and then having a big burnout and really having a lull and really struggling to keep up with my priorities and my desires and the things that I wanted to be following through on. So when I gave myself that additional support in yoga, in a practice that really supports my energy, and, and set those clear boundaries for myself. So I wasn't, even in the times when I did have a lot of energy, I was not allowing myself to burn it all away by doing extra work and taking on extra clients and pushing myself. And it was really in creating that stability for myself that allowed me to keep a consistency, that allowed that momentum to build throughout the year, that, allowed one month to build on the other. So that was really, really important. And it's not so much, strategically the pieces, because I've been through a similar experience where I've been super strategic about the pieces that were in place in my business in order to try to get to a result. But when the pressure was there or the mindset wasn't there, it hasn't worked as well as it had worked for me in the past. And now I see that it's really not about that. There's no perfect formula. There are a million and one ways to reach the people that we desire to reach in our business. The formula that works every time is being in the mindset that it's working and I'm doing it. And that comes from when we allow ourselves to continue to hold our goal, to continue to stay focused on our goal, continue to be open and receptive to inspiration around the action that we're feeling called to take to move towards our goal, and to be able to follow through on it, right? To be in a place where we've taken care of business, we've taken care of our personal life so that we are able to follow through on our inspiration. And we've created at least a bit enough space to be able to follow through and take action. And then being able to maintain that so that we are in the mindset, I am doing it. And it is working, right? And really celebrating those small wins. And I really went for the small wins, right? In the initial stages of my coaching business, I took on a few free clients for a few sessions because I wanted to prove my concept to myself. I wanted to prove that what I wanted to share through my coaching business, I was able to execute on and I was able to support people with. And the fastest way for me to do that was to gather evidence. And the path of least resistance way was for me to reach out to a few people who I knew would fit my ideal client, who I wanted to be supporting, give them some free sessions, and see the results that came as a result of that, which then gave me enough evidence to really confidently talk about and sell and market my idea to paying clients. And my very first group program that I launched, I had decided to do it. I think I'd enrolled about one person, and I was so happy about that one person, and I wanted it to be a group program. So I did a couple of trades with some people in a Facebook community. One of them I ended up not trading with her. She just came in for free, and she actually ended up joining my private mentorship, like my highest level offer. And it was really just that commitment to following through on the idea, because I knew that once I was in there, that momentum would then carry me on to the next one and, give me so much content and inspiration on what to talk about, more knowledge of my ideal client to be talking about and, building my next offers around and talking about in my marketing, and building relationships, with people who had the opportunity to work with me. And it really just took off from there. And just deciding to go all in, deciding to make it happen, and really celebrating those small wins. And that momentum built really very, very, very quickly. So that's the most important lesson and takeaway that I want to leave with you, is be in the mindset that it is working, that I am doing it. Continued, consistent focus on the goal that you want to be at. Even if you don't know exactly what that's going to look like now, you will get the insights and the inspiration as you keep moving towards it to the best of your ability, and really setting yourself up for success with boundaries, with taking care of your personal well-being, taking care of yourself, so that you can show up for your business from a place of consistency, continued momentum, continued focus, and most importantly, to do the things that you are excited about, to do the things that you're lit up by, to do the things that you're really inspired to do, to not get too caught up in the strategy brain of thinking how things all fit in perfectly together. That's something that you can figure out as you are serving people, as you're getting paid to learn and to grow and to support people to create results in the process. And that's always been my philosophy ever since I started out as an entrepreneur, is I will get paid to grow at this, because I really believe that we always have so much value to bring now. It's simply a case of finding the right people that align with the work we desire to be doing, that align with the work we most enjoy to be doing, and we get to grow and improve and get better at it as we're getting paid, as we are being supported to do so, and helping people and creating real results and real impact during that process. So I really hope that something in this conversation has ignited your passion for the work that you are feeling called to really fully show up for and create those next level results that you are being called to create. Trust that your desires are there for a reason, and there's a reason that you desire to work with people in this way and to be hitting the income goals and the next level business goals that you really desire deep in your bones and deep in your core. They're there for a reason. It serves everybody when you hit them. And so many people get helped when you realize your vision. So please share your comments and takeaways. Please subscribe. Please also leave a review for the Creative Magic Club podcast over on iTunes. And if I do have spaces open for my private mentorship, if you are looking for a mentor to support you to get to your first 6-figure year or your first 5-figure month in your dream coaching business, and please head over to my website withsarahmac.com to check out all of my offers. I have freebies and resources over there to support you to get to your next level goal in your dream business. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye. For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com, and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.